Welcome the moderator for this panel discussion. Please put your hands together for Ms. Vivette de Cruz, partner Deloitte India. A round of applause, Ms. de Cruz. Ma'am, I request you to please take the center seat. And our panelists are going to be discussing elevating brand image, the power of user-centric CX design for Deloitte. Please put your hands together for our esteemed panelists. Shantanu, Chauhan, Director, Marketing, Brand and Growth, Noise. A round of applause, please, for Mr. Chauhan. Keep that applause going for Mr. Rajesh Dogra, Chief Customer Experience Officer, Air India. Shwetal Basu, Chief Marketing Officer, Shopper Stop. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, please. Nikhil Asopa, Senior Vice President and Head Customer Service, Tata Digital. And Shankar, Senior Vice President, Customer Experience, Future Generali India Insurance Company Limited. Mr. Cruz, over to you, ma'am.
So good afternoon, and I'm audible, I assume, all the way till the end. Excellent. So really excited to be here with this prestigious panel and to discuss on how you can elevate brand experience by a user-centric CX design. You know, one of the key elements when you look at a CX design, and which we also touched upon earlier, is the entire emotional connect. And there are a lot of companies, who are trying to address this emotional connect by various initiatives that they're taking in the CX space. One of the really interesting examples that I've come across, which I thought I'll just quickly touch upon today, is Taylor Swift. If you really think about what she's doing, right? And if you look and if you see the terms that she's driving, the Swifties, as they call it as, right? She's really taken the entire example of emotional connect and therefore building a complete, committed and loyal set of customers to a completely different level. And, I think there are a lot of studies about what she's done, how she's done it. But if I distill it, it really comes down to 3 key points. The first, she has really understood who her customer base is. And therefore, whatever she does on social media or through her events is really talking to that customer base, right? So she knows that it's all the young people who sort of appeal to her. So therefore, her speed of response, her emotions that she talks about when she responds to them exactly appeals to them. The second thing that she does very well is how she involves them in her life, right? It's not a one-way communication. She ensures that they are able to contribute to her songs. She's created a completely parallel metaverse for them. She invites them for meets and greets. And the last one, she plays an important role in their life as well, whether by giving them donations, helping them through any sort of medical emergencies and all those things, right? So she's really become a good example today, or one of the good examples today, of how to really focus on user and thereby define a user-centric customer experience. And to therefore start off this discussion, and I'll start with Mr. Rajesh, Air India today, right, is going through so much of transformational change, right? You're going through the entire merger. There is a branding, lot of press coverage and all. So how are you looking to build and more so sustain that emotional connect which is there with the brand? What are the initiatives that you are considering? And more so, how are you getting the entire cultural organization also geared up to support you in this journey?
Thank you, Vivette. Am I audible? Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I think it's a very, very pertinent question because when you talk about emotions of the customers, and we are talking about a company which is owned by the Tata Group now. So anything that our group does, there is so much of social consciousness around it that everybody understands and appreciates the way Tata Group is structured and the kind of business that we do. And another very, very important point is that I'm sure you know that Air India was founded by Air India more than 90 years ago by JRD. And it has now come back to the Tata fold. So there are emotions all over the place for Air India. So I think there is nothing that you do specifically to build emotional connect. There is something the way the organization behaves and the posture of the organization towards its customers and of course employees that bring those emotions in their mind and makes that bridge for them to connect with us. There are so many examples. I mean, as I said, there is no specific effort, but whatever we are doing and we are trying to bring back the glory of Air India. what it used to be many, many years back. And as a national carrier, how and where should it be? All those efforts that we are putting in is really bringing customers back to Air India. And they have a very strong belief that Air India as part of Tata Group will do everything possible to ensure that we deliver better services, we deliver anything that customers require today from a world-class airline. Another very important aspect, especially for Air India, is that we have, as you may know, we have more than 4 million Indian diaspora living all over the globe. And all of us, we have grown, our first flight for all of us that were sitting here and, brought up in India, our first flight was Air India. So there is an emotional connect. I have so many feedbacks coming in from all over the world when they say that, despite all the challenges that we have, I'm sure you are aware, we inherited a legacy fleet. We have a lot of issues with the older aircrafts. We are trying to fix them. We had to recruit large number of people in the last, 18 months or so because Air India was short of staff severely. We are putting new processes. We are putting new IT systems. We're doing everything which is possible. You might have heard about the industry-leading order of 470 aircraft that we have made with both Boeing and Airbus, which is worth more than $70 billion. We are spending around $400 million to repair our old aircrafts. We are retrofitting all our old aircrafts to make sure that they are up and running with the modern seating systems and everything. We're investing millions of dollars in completely transforming our IT systems. We have recruited more than 10,000 people. So a lot of efforts are going on. The focus is only one, that we want to bring back the Air India's glory to where it should be. Now, if you look at the Indian diaspora, which is eagerly awaiting for the transformation and a turnaround of Air India, they always write to us to say that despite all these issues that we have, they know they have confidence that we'll bring Air India back where it should be. They do write that the moment we enter the Air India aircraft, they feel they're back home. It is such an emotional connect. I mean, people really feel they get goosebumps somewhere in the SF or the New York when they are coming back for whatever reason when they enter the aircraft. That's the feeling they have. I mean, these are natural things which we see and observe, and this is a great opportunity for us. And I think we are proud to have an airline which is so much being loved by everybody. Not only Indian diaspora and also by the others. I'll give you a couple of examples what we did. So when we took over, there were a large number of refund spending. I mean, one example that I would like to share with you, which changed the face of Air India right in the beginning, and because of the COVID and government, unfortunately, not having funds at that time to refund back to the customers. So when we took over, there were almost 250,000 refund cases which are pending. And when we took over, we got all those emails, and a lot of people started contacting that now it's Tata Group. We will make sure that the payments are all made. So we put in a lot of efforts. We set up a team of around 200 people. We looked at every single case. We brought in the funds, and we made sure that in a very short period of around 4 to 5 months, every single refund which was pending in the books, we processed it and we paid to the customers. Now, after some time, and then we, of course, we kept looking for if there's something else pending. In the social media, after a couple of months, I saw some posts still, going viral that my refund is still not, refund is not paid by Air India, despite Tata being taken over, Tata Group taking over the Air India airline. And at that point of time, while our records demonstrated that we had nothing else pending, we still went out of the way, and we took the bold step of going to the market, and we wrote on all social media handles, and we published on our website that as per our records, we have cleared all our refunds. If there is anyone pending, if there's anybody who feels that their refund is still pending, kindly reach out to us, because we don't have information that this is pending. So it was a small step. It was a very bold step, because normally nobody will do that, right? Because as organizations, you feel you have done your job, but we did that. And you will be surprised that while there were very few cases, I think we got around 100, 150 cases, the biggest impact it had on the social media and the social consciousness of our fellow citizens is that we got beautiful feedback. And one of the biggest tweet which became viral, I recall, was, it said with the Indian flag that here, the Maharaja is now back. That was the feeling, and that was the emotion which people, spoke about when we started doing it. And then a lot of other things that we have done. to make sure that the customers are taken care of. All the investments that we are making, the new CRMs that we have launched, or the new contact centers, the crew training, the complete cultural change, the behavior change in what we do and how do we deal with the customers. I think all that is leading to a lot of love and affection. Today you go to Twitter, I think the kind of appreciation that we get for the crew behavior, for the airport staff behavior, and general way of doing business, I think is being appreciated a lot. And I think Air India will be a shining example of what Tata Group is known for the ethics, for the trust and the goodwill going forward.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh. It's really insightful. Chandu, coming to you, obviously Air India had a base of emotional connect, which they were looking to build and sustain. But in case of your brand, right, how are you looking to build that emotional connect, especially across the different customer segments that you are dealing with, right? Either new, existing, young, old. How is it that you are differentiating your customer experience?
Hi. Thank you, ET, for actually organizing this event. It and you end up taking away one or two key takeaways, and that's all. You keep on building your customer experience better. So I'll just try to be a little more precise. So what we did, like, we segmented 3 segments. Very simple. We first, the one who just bought from our website, and we just wanted to see what are they buying for. That gives us one of the key takeaway. And then the one who have already bought, what kind of experience we're going to give it to them. And the people who have not yet bought, but what are kind of experience I need to build for them. That's how we divided. The first one, now a very interesting thing which came out of a feedback, that a lot of people were gifting the smartwatch. So, okay, so that struck us. How about we create an experience where before someone actually purchasing, we add a ticker saying, are you gifting it for someone? Or, and that's not the end. We also found that there were gifting happening from brother to sister, or maybe, in the family itself. They're existing customers itself, then it becomes a better case. They're really liking the product, and now I really need to improve on the gifting side. Okay. Not only that, what kind of models which they are trying to buy for. And we have found a great segment altogether. Now, why all these things? Because there is another experience which we need to build is, are they going to get a better gifting experience or not? That's the most important part, right? It's just not a ticker, but also the experience after that. Then we found out, okay, how can I make sure if I'm shipping almost 14,000 orders a day, that chain does not get affected and it keeps on shipping, because I have to maintain my time also. The time of delivery can't be sacrificed just because of this, right? We started putting our efforts on what kind of warehouse people are comfortable with. How can they make sure that it is clean and fast? So that's how we build the whole chain. So that's from the gifting side, and we are actually introducing another version now because we got one more feedback, so which you will see in the coming time. The second part is the existing customer. So we have our own app ecosystem, right? So we keep on giving them a certain value points. The value points are not on how much they bought for, but it's completely on how much fitness goals are they doing every day. So if they're running almost 1,000 steps, 10,000 steps, you will earn points. And that became a great gamification in a way that out of that value points, you can actually buy something from my website or maybe something from else. So, and that's how you're not going away from a brand ethos. You're also making sure that your mission is there and they're retained in that particular manner. And the third part, which is the new customer, who have never bought from you. So one of the observation which we had, so usually we have a certain hype about all the products. So they end up not, a lot of them actually not able to buy on the day one itself, and we get sold out, and then the new inventory comes after a month also. This happens a lot in electronics. So we introduced a new system, which is the pre-passes. Now that passes ecosystem created a greater experience for the people, and there also, which we were benefited. I mean, the product are in a process, but I still have the pre-order bookings already with me. So it kind of created a much more better experience. Why? Because now we can predict how many people are interested, how many people are actually going to buy. And out of that, also we've built a metrics that if people have purchased or pre-booked it, how much number are actually going to buy. So that created much more ecosystem, because ultimately uh, the experience which you're giving to them is going to restore their mind, right? You say whatever you wanted to say on the website, you say whatever, but it's that particular feeling. So we wanted to make sure these things process. So yeah.
Very interesting, Shantanu. I think both, Mr. Rajesh and Shantanu, you all both covered upon very simple but highly effective things that you all have been doing to drive this entire emotional connect and experience. And Hari, when I come to you, right, I think the question is that most of companies, when they're looking at defining this user-centric customer experience, they tend to overcomplicate it, right? Trying to solve for everything, for all exceptions, for all possible scenarios. So what are some of the other challenges that you have seen, and how is it that you could potentially address also these challenges while developing this design?
Yeah, thanks. It was very interesting hearing Air India and noise, two very different things across the spectrum. And now you come to insurance, something very intangible, and you only experience it at unfortunate times, maybe. And how do you change that brand perception in the mind of the person? So, while I was in my younger days, and the early mentor and boss used to drill one thing into me, a well-known adage, that anything that you're doing in customer experience, it should be solving one of the two things. Either you are getting a new customer or you are retaining an existing customer. Otherwise, whatever activity you are doing, just review if it is worthwhile. So many times we talk about the ROI of investment in customer centricity, or the challenge where the budget will come from. But these are not two different ends of the spectrum, but these are things which go hand in hand. Now, the insurance brand that we are, Future Generali, Generali is really a insurer which has a deep pedigree with 190 plus year experience. So very well placed in understanding the insurance business. How does it become customer centric? So we are trying to be a lifetime partner to our customers and partners. And what are some of the things that we are doing over here? So insurance operates through intermediation. I mean, you design a product, you underwrite it, but you have to have an intermediary. It may be an agent, it may be a broker, or at times digital channels. They are digital first insurers also. But the thing is, when this intermediary is going and selling their product, how do you do the ease of business over there? So here, based on the design principles and using design thinking, the empathy thinking, we have helped them to get everything in one place through the portal that we offer to them, so that they can really issue the policies real time, can understand what are the products which are like really suiting to the customer, sell the right fit, explain the products correctly, and give the policies digitally. So we are able to do almost 90% of the policies digitally without pen and paper being put over there. Secondly, coming to retaining the customers, we got the customer inside the door. Now you have to retain that. If they are going on your digital channels, insurance typically demands a lot of information, but how swift can we make it? So we have made it almost 2 steps plus KYC on the website. And then he can also renew on the places where he is present. So he can go to website, but if he is present on a WhatsApp number, he doesn't need to step out of WhatsApp. The entire journey goes through on WhatsApp itself, and they're able to renew over there. So building on customer experience design, not only doing the design thinking, taking the approach of data door, taking the approach of process door or insights, we are also looking at what can be things which can be done real time. It's not once in a while project that you identify a big pain point and then you solve it holistically, completely. You are able to do many things real time if you are listening real time. So we have a program, and while it is of course NPS, but not necessarily the net promoter score, because the moment you get fixated with the score, then you undo the good that it can do, but the system that is there. So we are really listening to the customer real time at all the touch points across the policy life cycle, from the buying to the renewing to the claiming. And there is a transactional as well as a structural closed loop. So what is the transactional closed loop? It is the service recovery for the detractor. So at least that one person who had a bad experience, you fix it up. We have low number of detractors over the period of time because we have fixed things. And then structurally, you see what themes are emerging. So what is there in insurance is expectation management and education. So when you are doing the claim settlement, say in a health claim, in the early days itself, when he has got the hospital claim registration, you can tell him upfront what is going to be covered, what is not going to be covered. A simple mailer explaining that and someone calling and explaining that really makes prevents a dissonance at the end. Or similarly, when you are having a motor claim experience, at the correct milestones to have that human touch. So those are the things which we are building in the insurance life cycle, or for that matter, in the product design. My friend Nikhil here talked about the initiative of making the customer conscious. So insurance traditionally is protection, but it is protection, prevention, and also enhancement. And how you do the value-added services or enhancement really makes your basket of products or the engagement with the customer exciting. Otherwise, typically he'll take your product and maybe forget about your product and the brand for the entire period. But then we have a product which we say an insurance that you can use every day. So he can take the wellness initiatives, he can check his happiness and health score, he can do those things which keep him fitter, which is a mutual thing, a symbiotic thing for the insurance company and for the customer also, because when they are healthier, they are not going to be need to take the mediclaim also, and then they can use those reward points at a later stage at the time of renewal. So those are the things that we are doing in insurance space. And then finally, to cut the clutter and make the policy simpler for him, the language, if he can at least have the simple one pager, which can help him to understand the product, even without going through the entire terms and conditions which are there, and to be connected throughout the life cycle and give correct spaces, which correct messages, which make them feel that here is truly an advisor and educator rather than only someone who is taking an insurance premium. So those are the things which we are endeavoring to do.
Yeah, thanks, Hari. I think really interesting insights. I think what I heard you say is that, rather than trying to boil the entire ocean, be very focused, know what you're trying to solve for, and then, sort of go after that, right? So, Shwetal, coming to you, I think we spoke about having very clear initiatives, being focused, but customer experience, emotional connect, extremely qualitative terms, very fuzzy-duzzy. Even when we talk to clients, it's all about, how do you really measure what you're doing, right? What is the impact that you are doing? So from a shopper stop perspective, right, or from your experience perspective, how is it that you really measure that whatever design that you've created is actually delivering impact, right? And to show finally how it is linking potentially to even shareholder value. So what is it that you look at an organization level in terms of measuring this impact of this design that you put for customer experience?
Sure. Audible? I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to break this into two parts. All right. One is the direct measurability, where there are KPIs that you can measure, and obviously repeats, customer lifetime value, the sales that it brings in, how your AMS is going, and there's a whole lot of things that is there. And that's something that one would anyway do on a day-to-day basis, right? When you plan campaigns, when you plan conversations, all of that would happen. But in my mind, I think one needs to really pause and take a step back. Let's understand how things are evolving for a marketeer. At one point of time, the brand narrative was completely managed by the marketer. In today's day and age, with social media, with so much of internet and so much of awareness happening, a large amount of your brand narrative is managed by the customer. And hence, whether you measure or you don't measure, the customer experience is extremely important, because that generates an advocacy, and that is going to actually harm or let your brand remain stable in the long run. After 1 year, you will start wondering what's happening to my brand, why am I dropping out on walk-ins and all of that, but that's not happening because what you're doing today. It's because what you have started doing in the last 6 months or for the last 7, 8 months or a year back, what changed in your organization is actually giving you an impact today. And to make sure that this is there, your customer experience is extremely important. From a shopper stop perspective, we do multiple pieces from a customer experience, right? Let's look at our own behaviors. When we go out for the weekend shopping, we have certain things in our mind, and if we get what we want, and if we had a great experience in the store, it's a weekend well done. But if there is a experience that gets disturbed, or if you don't get what you wanted for the next board meeting or the next outing, yeah, after that, even if you've gone to the best fine dine restaurants for a dinner, it's still a weekend not well done. Just think back. And that's what offline stores bring in. Customer experience is what offline stores give. Online gives you convenience, but customer experience is what offline stores give you. In these 200 people sitting out here, most of us are dressed in black, blues, grays, a little bit of a pinks, right? Similar kind of silhouettes that everybody's wearing. But still, no two people are dressed the same. Why? Because what we wear today is basically not just clothes, it's a representation of our identity, right? And all of us are so individually different in terms of our identity that the experience has to get personalized. And personalization becomes the biggest concept for us at Shopstop. We've invested in a lot of data analytics and a lot of pieces that we do where we try and understand the customer and their experience and what they want. And we literally get into a personalized experience, whether it is connecting with them online, on various WhatsApps, or even if it is empowering the front-end customers with data and enough information so that the customer can actually get a personalized experience. Now, these on an immediate basis can get measured with all your campaign measurements and the number of pieces that I spoke about. But these are also very, very high long-term investments because they go a long way in terms of relationship building. And that one happy customer can actually create another 1,000 happy customers. And one disturbed customers will actually get even another 1,000 happy customers to become detractors. So I think that's where we'll need to think from that. Everything doesn't need to be just perfectly measured. From an immediate basis, certain KPIs would work, but these are long-term investments that we need to think about.
It's really interesting, Shwetal, a different perspective. I think otherwise we just always focused on the numbers and what we are delivering and every quarter and every month rather than, looking at from a long-term perspective.
So in fact, because Shopper Stop was always known for experiences in the last 1.5 to 2 years, in fact, for the last 18 months, we started doing it consistently. We started creating experiences that money cannot buy. And we call in the premium black tier customers for this. Very clearly, not even a single conversation on clothing, apparel, or sale happens. It's just a fantastic experience, whether it is a sailing experience or whether it's a golfing experience or taking them for a movie or arranging a personal pujo experience, right? And what we've realized that people whom we connect for these experiences, they shop around 6 times more than what a regular customer shops. And every time these customers whom we have connected with experiences and we started mapping how much we are spending per family, we've seen that softer connect is helping them to drive double-digit sale higher than what they used to do earlier. That's where these experiences comes in. So there are multiple things, right? Data analytics, the front-end experience, what you really create as a marketer, the online experience, everything needs to come in as a 360
together. Understood. So I think, Nikhil, we come to you. I think, all Hari, Rakesh, Shantanu and Shwetal, they just made it very easy how to do this all, right? It was like, oh, you just get this, you focus on some points, you prioritize, you create a 360-degree view and all. But I'm sure it's a question on everybody's mind here, especially when you're trying to get onto this journey, right? To build this user-centric customer experience. If you can share from your perspective, right, what would be some of those critical 3-4 things to prioritize, right? And therefore to focus on when you're building or getting onto such a journey?
So it's very easy, right? You come to these panel discussions, talk to your panel members, fellow members, you learn and then go ahead and implement. Correct? That's very easy. But having said that, first of all, this is the first time we are talking, or actually I am part of the panel discussion, which we're talking less on Gen AI and all that stuff, but more on emotional thing, which is a unique thing. And I really like it because that's very important component of the customer experience. Though this also has a technology layer below it. Now, as we all know, Tata New is a first super app in India. And all the customer experience which an Air India does for their customers, what Noise does for their, so what Air India does, so we have a flights, okay, on our Tata New app, which basically helps Air India customers as well. The Noise thing is sold by Chroma, okay. So hence whatever Shantanu does it, okay, that is important for us to do it. We sell insurance products on our app, okay. So whatever Hari does it, okay, that's part of it. And of course, we have our fashion brand, Tata Click, correct? So, so, so the good part and the difficult part is that though Rajesh, Shantanu, Shweta, and Hari will do it for their own categories and verticals, I have to do it across these categories and categories. But the better part is, okay, all these learnings help us in making the experience better. Now I'll tell you how do we basically do it. And I come from a consulting background, okay, hence everything is important to be measured, right? So I go to my boss and talk, oh, well, we'll create a good customer experience with emotions as a part of it. And now we are actually getting 10 social media posts on emotions. Now we're getting 20. Okay. That would not fly because my boss also comes from a consulting background. Okay. So then we created a framework of how to measure the emotion connect score, okay, for our customers. And that framework basically was on a principle which we call it as a new principle, NEU, okay, where N stands for new initiatives, okay, E is keeping it excited, okay, and U for understanding. That was a principle of creating that framework, but we assigned the scores, okay, and we assigned the scores for almost more than 1 million customers who are on our app, okay, we have a score defined for each of them, okay. Now, the accuracy level may vary because it's very difficult to understand the entire journey, both on a social and a non-social part of the customers, but to a good extent we have it. The easier part or the better part is because all these customers are a Tata group customers or Tata company customers, our score starts on an average from a 6 on 10. What it means is that because they are loyal to Tata, they respect the brand Tata, okay, they associate it with trust, okay, that starts at a 5-6 range, okay, and our job is to basically take it from a whatever 5-6 range to a 8-9-10 range, correct? And that's what so what do we do to do it, right? Now we studied and to create this emotional framework, right, the score framework, we identified, okay, what will a person feel important to connect his emotions while shopping on our app, correct? So first thing came up was, okay, he should basically feel that, okay, he is a privileged customer on the app, not a mass customer or a normal customer, right? So we gave that feeling and understand the customer experience is on the 3 stages, right? The first is the exploration phase where we search the products on the app, right? Second is the purchase journey, and third is the post-purchase journey where we do the customer service and all that stuff. On each of these phases, okay, we define the experience, okay, which basically then create that emotional score, okay, of that customer. And then our endeavor is, okay, so he may be at this level, how do we basically increase it to the next level? Okay, for example, he should feel that, okay, yes, I am an important customer while I'm going on the app, while doing it. So we created those personalized offers specific to him, of course, taking care of all the privacy laws and all that stuff, right? But that was one thing, right? During the purchase journey, okay, we gave him the options of, okay, if you have this card, okay, this and that, all that different payment options. The post-purchase becomes very, very important, right? Because that's the time where he or she should feel empowered. Again, the good thing is, okay, the expectation people have is that if it is Tata and if I have a problem, it will get solved. So we created our metrics in such a way that, okay, we have to solve it, okay, irrespective of what his buying pattern is, what his lifetime customer value is, all that stuff, right? But that problem has to be solved within a stipulated time and to his satisfaction. So all these components, okay, then created the score and we basically practiced that. Okay. Now coming to the point that, okay, by the way, let me also tell you, the brands which we have it on our app, okay, most of them are Tata brands, correct? Where the brands itself had a good score. They were, for example, Big Basket as a grocery company, right? They themselves a very big brand. Okay, 1MG, Chroma, Indian Hotels, Air India, okay, they all are big brands altogether. At the same, so they started a little higher emotional score. But when we introduced a food delivery on our app, right? We basically start as a new thing, right? There the emotional score is a little lower because we have to then build that brand, okay, on our app. And that is where we have to work more towards building that brand. So this is how it is done. Now let's come to, okay, what do new companies, okay, basically they can do to help create this emotional score, because as we all agreed and discussed, it is the most important part of it, correct? So I created an acronym because I love Rajesh and I love Air India. Okay, I created A2, I2 as a framework, and just now I created it. Okay, but so A stands for authenticity, right? Be transparent to your customers. Okay, be very, very transparent. Something you can do, something you can't do, right? So that make sure that is there, authentic. I stands for integrity. Okay, just make sure that is what Tata Group is famous for, right? Be very, very clear on your integrity. Okay, you may see people say, right? Mahendra Singh Dhoni is Captain Cool. You cannot actually, Mahendra Singh Dhoni cannot create his position as a Captain Cool only by one or two instances, right? We have seen it in 15, 20 years, continuously he was creating that, right? Hence his Captain Cool, right? You cannot be showing as an as a company which has an integrity at its best, okay, by few incidents, right? Okay, you have to basically create it. Okay, so authenticity, walk the talk, correct? Your say-do ratio has to be the best. Okay, don't commit anything if you can't do it. Okay, make sure your say-do ratio is good. Okay, if not 100%, at least 95% plus, because otherwise people will stop believing you. So anyway, I'll not go into details, but the idea is that okay, take care of these fundamental things. Okay, of creating a framework of emotional score, build on it. Of course, it will be difficult when you reach a particular score and to increase it from there and sustain it. But it's important to have that framework. Okay. And then you wrap all these things through technologies, okay, through social media responses and all that stuff, which is important for, by the way, lot of things which you have done it on social media side. Rajesh was talking about Air India, similar on, you can understand what people write on Tata brands and so on and so forth. Okay. Lot of automation has been done. The last thing is, this is all what you are doing it, right? And you are basically happy. How do you get the feedback from the customer? And I'll tell you, because I manage the customer responses, okay, there are people who just write long emails just to provide the feedback because they feel this is our brand. Okay, Rajesh was talking about people enter the Air India aircraft and they see, okay, this is my airline, correct? They feel that, okay, Tata is our brand. They write, they give us suggestions. And I'm not kidding. There are hundreds of emails where they, oh, this is, can you do this? Can you basically add this thing also as a part of our portfolio? That is where the emotional connect, okay, is getting validated.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all of you all. And I think there's some really interesting points that they mentioned, especially on how to quantify the emotional connect. I think they're all going to be there for lunch, so you can catch up with them a little bit more during that time as well. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you.